Hello, my friend. It is a new year. Some people say a new you, but really it's just all of us a day older. But that doesn't mean that we can't make changes to our life, use the new year as inspiration for just being better versions of ourselves. So today we are going to be talking about budgeting for makeup products and how to not give into the hype, how to be strong. And if that sounds good to you, hang tight. We are getting into it right now. Today was supposed to be my skincare routine video, but I did not have enough time to research. I always budget less time than really is needed to research for skincare. It just takes forever. So I needed a video that I thought would be valuable to you. So I took the suggestion of someone on Twitter, and she asked me if I could do a video about budgeting for makeup purchases, and I think that that's a really great idea, so I'm using it. I've noticed a lot of people recently, some of my favorite creators, talking about being on low buys, no buys, things like that. Most people do not have a bunch of disposable income to just buy whatever they want, and budgeting is quite important. So here are just a few tips for you. Let's get into the first one. The first thing I think is really important in order to be successful for budgeting is deciding whether budgeting is important to you. Now, I know that might sound like a no-brainer. Sometimes we want to say that we want to make a change, but in our hearts, we don't really want to make a change. Like, we're really not quite ready, really haven't hit that point of making that commitment. And if you're not there, baby steps are okay. Little tiny steps in the right direction are better than no steps at all. So don't be too hard on yourself and do what's realistic to you. But in order to be successful in budgeting, I think that you really have to find it in your heart and make it important. Are you losing out on things because you're making makeup purchases? At the end of the month, are you getting stressed because you know that you're getting closer and closer to not being able to pay for the things that you must pay for because of the things you wanted to pay for? If that sounds like you, then you're ready for step number 2. Now we're gonna go into our personal collection, and I think organizing our personal collection is critical. So we know what we have a lot of, what we have just a couple of, and what we really need to restock on and re-up on. So take some time that you know is gonna be some you time, where no one's gonna bug you, put on a little bit of music, whatever it is that puts you in that chill, happy place where you can enjoy yourself in your own space. Get yourself there, because you want your organization time to be a positive time. If you're doing it in between the cracks, picking up the kids from the school bus or whatever, making dinner, that's my life. It's not gonna be as enjoyable. It's gonna take multiple days maybe. Make sure it's a time that you've carved out specifically for this organizing activity. And while you're organizing, organize it in a way that you feel is logical to you. What's logical to me and the way that I organize my collection may not be logical to you. So it has to make sense as far as your morning routine, or your going out in the evening routine, or if you want to sort by category or by color or whatever. If you have to do what's best for you. You don't necessarily have to listen to the way that other people do things. Go with your gut on that. And while you're organizing, take the time to do some swatches. Have some kind of makeup wipe available to you so that you can wipe off easily as you're swatching, and see if you have any dupes, and see if those dupes maybe you like one a lot more than another, because that's going to lead us into the next step. The next obvious step is decluttering and getting rid of those things that you just don't really like or don't really use. But I think part of it that I think some of these videos encourage, that I personally don't agree with, is decluttering things that you love just because you have something that's similar. I think that sometimes we want to deny ourselves of things because we don't necessarily need it. We just really like it. And if you've already purchased it, I personally don't see a problem with keeping two things that shade-wise are identical, but if they both bring you joy, take a moment and just allow them to bring you joy. You've already purchased them. There's no need to declutter them unless you just don't have enough space to store all of it. Then you're in a different situation. But I think for the most part, a lot of people are going to be able to keep things, but don't let anybody guilt you into decluttering something that you personally love, because then it's going to be a miserable process and you're not going to be happy in the end with your decluttering. Now you have brought yourself to a good mental state, you have organized, you've decluttered, and now you've moved on with your life, and oh my goodness, you've just watched What's If in Makeup and you just saw something that you really, really, really want to purchase. Do not impulse buy. Do not impulse buy. Take a second. Okay, maybe take your computer or your phone to wherever your makeup is and see if you have something that's exactly like what it is that you want to buy. If you already have something like it, do you really need it? Ask yourself, do you really need it? If you don't have something exactly like it, then thinking about, well, why do you want it? What is it about it that you want? Are you falling for marketing? Is it because it's a trendy product? Is it because of the packaging? Is it because somebody that you watch on YouTube has recommended it and said you need it in your life and you must have it? Is it something that you could be maybe not really need, but something is maybe telling you you need it, but maybe later you might realize you don't really need it? Kind of analyze that in your head. What is your why? Why do you really need this product? Sometimes new things come out and they seem to be new and innovative and creative. Not that often, but every once in a while, something comes out that's new. But do you really need it? Did you really need that pizza wheel eyeliner, even though it was new? Did you really need that lip gloss that has a different kind of applicator? I mean, do you really need it? Is it really that different that you must try this particular type of thing? But it may be. It may be something that, yes, you feel like it's definitely, something that is new. So the next thing you're going to ask yourself is, how will this add to my life? How will this bring me more joy? How am I going to use this product so that I make my makeup routine go faster in the morning in a functional way? Maybe it'll just bring you joy because, you like whoever or whatever it's associated with. Maybe it's the colors. Something about it is going to bring you some kind of joy. But if you're like me, there's probably a color scheme that you stick to. There's a certain kind of look that you really like, a certain set of colors that you really like. Think about whether you already have backup in your collection, wherever your collection is. Really and truly, do you already have things that are exactly like this? Do you really truly need it? And also, do you have storage for something like this? Some of these products have huge packaging. Do you have a place to store it functionally so that you're not creating this giant mess? And if you live with someone like my husband, who is very much an organization person, is it going to drive the people in your life crazy that your makeup collection is out of control and then add extra stress to your life? And then you didn't even end up using it anyway because you really didn't truly need it. A trick that I always use for myself all the time is not buying, I kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, not buying something impulsively. Can you wait till tomorrow to buy it? I do that all the time. I'll fill up shopping carts with all kinds of stuff and then I'll just walk away. I'll just forget that I even filled up my shopping cart. And then the next day I'll look at it again and be like, okay, what of these things do I really still want? I do that every year with the Sephora sales and the Ulta sales. I always think I want more than I actually end up purchasing. And it's just give your brain a moment to rest on it and really think about it. Another trap that I know a lot of us fall into is the collector thing, that you collect Urban Decay palettes, or you collect Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes, or you collect metallic lipsticks, whatever your thing is. Because when it's a collection, a lot of times, at least I know with me, when I was collecting stuff from the Balm, it wasn't because I actually wanted the stuff. It was because I wanted to add to my collection. But did I really need all of that? No, I didn't really need all of that. It was just a collection thing. But if you're in a place where you are not financially able to collect something, take a minute. Be like, dude, bring yourself back down to reality. I think as far as adding to your life, the big thing is it going to replace something that you have now run out of? Is it a primer? Is it a lipstick shade that you have run out of? Is it a foundation because, you've run out of foundation and you want to try something new? Or, do you not have any more illuminating foundation even though you have a matte foundation? I think everyone has to find their balance of where they are as far as their collection and running out of certain things. Do you really need an illuminating and a matte foundation? Everybody's answer is going to be different, but if you are replacing something, I feel like that's a little easier to justify spending on something. The very last tip, I promise you, is hashtag not sponsored. This is the app that I used to use when I was on a very, very strict makeup buying budget. It's called Spending Tracker. Now, there's a bunch of different budgeting apps that you can get for your phone or for your tablet. And this is one that I used and found very functional because it didn't link directly to my bank account. I had to type everything in manually, which I personally liked because it kept me engaged in my purchases. I used it for anything that was excess purchase beyond what I needed. So I didn't track like my grocery purchases. I didn't track, clothes for my kids, things like that. But if I wanted to buy a pair of shoes that I didn't need, if I wanted to buy makeup, that all went into the app. And it was beautiful to be able to see everything visually through this app. And it definitely helped me out a lot. This was the one that I chose to use. But again, there's tons of spending tracker type apps out there that you can use to kind of help you to budget your purchases. There is a free version. The paid version is $2.99. I think I sprung for the $2.99 one, but it was super, super helpful for me to organize things and see everything all lined up there so I could, and consult that before I made an additional purchase, because it does add up really, really, really quickly. Hopefully you found these tips helpful. I know for some of you this is going to be, yes, I already know this. Hopefully maybe it's some validation for you that you're on the right track. Maybe some inspiration for some of you that are trying to get into being better at budgeting. Just know that I am with you. I support you in your budgeting as much as possible. If you need encouragement, if you say, on WhatsApp and Makeup, you saw something and you're like, I really want this, but I don't have the money for it. Let's all encourage each other not to buy crap, and to only buy things that are totally worth it and within our budgets. So I want to thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any money-saving budgeting tips, help us out in the collective brain down below in the comments section. Let's all learn from each other and how we all work through not spending money on things that we don't need. Thank you again for watching. Mad love to you, and I will see you in a video very, very soon.